Podcast with Kurt Maggs. Kurt Maggs Radio.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Key Witness Media Podcast, and I'm your host, Kurt Maggs, in the building. Yeah, it's poppin'. I'm also the host of the Kurt Maggs Radio Show, so hey, give a shout out to the radio show. First, I would like to thank everyone who's been listening to these podcasts and also radio show episodes. I definitely appreciate you. 2020 has proven to be one of the craziest years of my life. And I've had quite a few crazy years. And I would like to first acknowledge the LA Lakers for sealing up the deal with LeBron James and also getting Anthony Davis signed on the dotted line. That's a big, you can see that organization has totally turned itself around since Kobe left the organization, and all of those championships that him and Shaq and countless of many others who were part of that dynasty organization, because you had Magic and my guy Kareem. I mean, you had guys like Jamal Wilkes and Norm Nixon and, man, countless of many others who have come through that. James Worthy come through that organization. And don't get me wrong, I've never been an LA Lakers fan ever, but it was just some of the players that they had on the team that I liked a lot. So shout out to the Buzz family, from the father to the daughter now, who has taken over the reins and have turned that organization around within a couple of years. And King James, what more can you say? What more can you say? I think you're looking at, $85 million for 2 years for King James? For 2 years, $85 million. And I think Anthony Davis is $180 million for 5 with an option to get out of that after 4 years, that he doesn't have to go to that 5th year. So that was a very good situation. Shout out to Clutch Sports for pulling that off. Man, those guys are really doing it. What a great management organization that they have going over there. I think was that Rich Paul, like Maverick Carter. Those guys are really doing some amazing things out here in the business world. And man, I would love to be able to hook up with one of those guys just to pick their brain and seeing how they're getting it done. But I know that with the help of LeBron James, it makes it a little bit easier to maneuver around in the NBA space. So shout out to them for that. Also, man, did anybody get a chance to see the fight with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.? That was a sight to see. I could not believe that you were able to get these 50-year-old guys in the ring to fight. And man, Mike Tyson still looked like he had a lot of punching power. Now, he's not as fluid as he was back in the day, but he's not far from it. So, I mean, he was able to get his weight down. I mean, there was times where Mike Tyson was, I think, close to 300 pounds, if not 300 pounds. But he was able to get his body back in shape and be able to get the thing done that he wanted to get done for that fight. And shout out to Roy Jones Jr. for taking in and absorbing all of those punches. Man, I think this is the words of Roy Jones Jr. He said every part of his body hurt. And Mike Tyson definitely gave him a lot of body shots. And if you've ever seen Mike Tyson train or watch any of the footage that he showed of how he goes after certain body parts, he pretty much tried to destroy your liver. your kidneys, every part of your body, he's trying to destroy it. So anybody who's brave enough to get in the ring and deal with all that punishment, much more power to you, and shout out to everyone who's considering even fighting Mike Tyson from this day forward. So moving right along, we're gonna, as we get ready to go into 2021, we're going to be faced with a few different things and a few different challenges. And I'm speaking about the coronavirus vaccines and also a different presidential change of presidential hands. We will no longer have President Trump. We will have President Biden, who will be showing what they can do to help this United States of America. And I got some mixed feelings and some mixed emotions about some of the things that I've seen and heard so far. And we know that our brother Ice Cube was dragged in the dirt by some people who felt like he was not looking out for the black community when he proposed a black plan to President Trump's administration. And as far as I'm concerned, I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to give it to anybody who would listen. And he asked both administrations, and one rejected him and told him to wait till later. And the other one told him, hey, come on, bring it down. Let us take a look at it. So the plan was actually putting in their faces, and they actually wanted to implement them if they won, and that's that Trump administration. But it didn't happen. And the fact that the Trump administration lost, it made it even worse for brother Ice Cube. And it made it sound like he was a traitor and everything else like that. And the black community really needs to wake up and, what they say, smell the coffee and look at what's really going on here. Till this day, far as I'm concerned, there's still really no true black plan. And we'll see what the Biden administration does as far as addressing some of the issues of the black community. But for what I know and what I've seen and witnessed and dealt with myself, when you're dealing with the justice system and it's poorly organized, it's totally unfair. And if you don't have any money to fight for your rights, you get thrown away. And no one really actually cares except you and your immediate family. So we'll see what happens. And I'm going to just put it on record right now. Kamala Harris does not have a good rapport with the black community. And even if you go back and when she was just running for president on her own, she didn't get the look that she wanted. And she was totally out of the picture because people kind of understood where she was coming from. But somehow she was able to find her way back in under the Biden administration. And it's funny how when they were having those debates, how she sort of attacked Biden, and then now you see them on the same team together as though that never happened. It's just funny. So we'll see what happens is moving forward, but the Trump administration is out of there, and we're probably going to hear a lot more going on within 2021 as far as the direction that Donald Trump and his family is going to be dealing with, because if everything is correct, New York is waiting for him to come out that door of that White House, and they want to talk with him and deal with him. So we'll see what that's all about and see what happens. Okay, moving forward, as 2021 is vastly approaching, I have made the decision to go ahead and try to start up a YouTube channel to go along with the Key Witness Media podcast, to give a visual of what, so you can see what goes on, and we can actually see each other and give everyone a visual. Now, don't get me wrong, I've contemplated being on YouTube for a while. And even with this podcast, it was never supposed to have been just me by myself. It was supposed to have been two other hosts to host this, even a few guests that we had set up that we wanted to interview. But with the coronavirus and not being able to see eye to eye on the vision of what the Key Witness Media podcast should have been about, I wanted the discussion to be more than just, I wanted it to be more general as far as politics, the worldview, people's personal struggles, testimonies, and how they felt about things, and positive messages. Sometimes having people with negative messages that have turned them into positives, to help people out there that needs some type of hope or some type of direction, that Key Witness Media podcast was able to give them that direction that they needed. When we're dealing with people from all walks of life and different ages and different colors and race and skin tone, I like to keep a, how can I put it, I don't ever want it to be closed-minded. I mean, I have dealt with people who were part of racist organizations. I've worked right along with them. And I'm talking about starting from the time I was out of high school. Worked with a guy, I'll just say his name was RB. And worked with him for a couple of weeks. And one time it was hot outside and he had a shirt on, but he had the sleeves rolled all the way up, and there was a dragon tattoo on his arm. And I asked him, "Hey man, that's a pretty cool dragon tattoo." And once he started explaining to me what it all was about, when I was sort of shocked. I was like, "Are you serious? Are you serious?" But it was part of the some type of dragon, if I can recall now. It was a dragon, but it was part of the Ku Klux Klan type of organization that he was a part of. And he was telling me, I asked him, what made him do that, and how did he become part of that organization. And after having a long conversation with him, some things were clear and some things were not clear. And sometimes you act out on things, and he was young at the time, in which at this time he was a lot older than I was. He's probably about 25 years older than I was. And at that time I'm explaining to him, if you felt like you were being mistreated by someone of color, how do you think that the ones of color who's been also being mistreated, how does that level out? And then, just like you were mad and upset and wanted to join an organization that taught hate about other people, what would be wrong with the other person to join an organization that taught hate about someone else? So you can't go back and forth. That's just like someone that's a devil worshiper who doesn't believe in God, but they believe in the devil. Some things just don't make no sense. God don't exist, but the devil does. And some things just don't make sense to me. But moving forward, we are going to try to get that YouTube channel. And I'm going to tell you, I decided to go through YouTube and watch other people's setups and how they got their YouTube channel set up. And the ones that I like, man, the prices, the cost of being able to put up a nice, good quality streaming platform on YouTube can cost you upwards to $5,000-$6,000 for a basic setup. There's some guys out there who are spending $15,000-$20,000 and up for their YouTube channel. And don't get me wrong, they may have over 100,000 subscribers. So far, we're going to be starting off with 5. That's it. Yeah. But I'm going to see how that goes. I'm not going to make any promises of when the YouTube channel is going to go up because I still have to get all the necessary equipment to get going. And saying that, it's going to be bare bones in the beginning. And if I can pick up some speed and traction, I will go ahead and add more to it. But that's definitely going to be in the works for the YouTube channel. Now, at first, I was just going to have just a face, one of those, just an image by itself. And it may start off that way until I get things going. And being able to put myself on camera is going to be something that going to take a while to get used to, because I never actually wanted to be in front of a camera in that aspect. I always wanted to be a behind the scenes guy. And that's even with the Key Witness Media podcast, Kurt Mack's radio show. It was about me actually being behind the scenes and just interjecting and adding something to the subject matter or whatever. But like I said, things didn't work out the way, and I was kind of forced to put in a position. Well, everything was paid for. I'm going to just put it that way. So everything was done. So I did not want to just leave it and never get things started. So I was like, well, since it's paid for, I'll go ahead and give it a try. I would love to be able to get a streaming platform for my son who likes to, he likes gaming. And I'm not too big into the gaming stuff. And he wants to be able to have a YouTube channel for gaming. And I'm going to see if I can get that done. He's really heavily into it. And it's, as most kids are, all of them are playing Fortnite and doing this and that. So just to stay on top of it, we're going to see how that goes, and give him a couple of times to do it and see how that goes. But I'm going to tell you, and like I've told him, it's based on his grades and attitude. Cutting up, disobedient, grades of dropping. You will not be doing any streaming of no YouTube because you won't be on the Xbox doing anything. And man, did you see that they have a new Xbox system and also PlayStation systems? They're costing about $500. And man, stuff is getting pricier and pricier. But shout out to the developers and makers of all this. They're staying with it and keeping it consistent, and the graphics and everything else is going up, getting better and better. When you think that they've reached the pinnacle, it just keeps going up further and further. So shout out to them. And I'm going to tell you that Fortnite, what a genius company that they started. Give you something for free, but if you want to add the little guns and suits and extra characters and extra weaponry, they charge you for it. And I'm not talking about $2 or $3. I'm talking about as high as $5, $10, $15 V-bucks, cost $25, $35, $40. And they have these kids totally hooked on it. They are completely hooked. Why didn't I think of that? Seems as though adults know how to reel in kids. It was like the thing that they came up with, the McDonald's came up with the kids meal. And I remember when those Happy Meals came out, the first time they came out, and till this day, if you have a kid with you and you drive past the McDonald's, the first thing they're going to yell, "Hey, stop by McDonald's and get me a kid's meal. I want me a Happy Meal." Boy, girl. I mean, they even added the healthier options with it, with the Go-Gurt and apple slices in that, which we know those apple slices, how you going to keep that? You just aren't going to even mess with McDonald's like that. But, and then everybody else started following suit with the kids' meals. But they knew how to get people hooked, and it's an adults are coming up with this stuff. So, Disney, I mean, they're able to keep up with all of the stuff that's going on with the Disney stuff. But probably the rest of the month, I'm going to be working on some other projects. I want to do some more mixing and mastering on some more projects, and actually work on a single for myself. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the dive and try to do my own project finally, and drop another song, and it's just gonna be I don't know. I would love to be able to do a jazz project, and not so much of a hip hop or whatever. We'll see. I'm gonna go by how I feel and what mental state I'm in, mind state, or how I'm feeling at that time. Like I said, if I go based off the feeling of 2020, which I had so much, I had so much going on in the beginning of 2020 that I really wanted to do. And like I said, with the coronavirus, it just completely shut it all down. And I mean, it shut down a lot of people. A lot of musicians have suffered. Even when I was trying to submit a project that I worked on, I submitted the project in late May, to be released in July, around July 4th. And usually takes 2 weeks. So it should have been ready to go in the middle of June, and the release date would have been in July. It didn't get released till September. So many people had submitted their projects, and I'm going through my affiliation with BMI, making sure all my publishing and everything is all correct and everything is signed, and they're sitting there waiting like, "Hey, are you going to still release that single?" And I kept telling them, yeah, I'm going to release it. I'm going to release a single. And they were just waiting on me. So I finally did get everything approved and sent it through, just testing how the digital market works and how to get everything on certain markets, certain platforms, I'll say, through the YouTube Music and Spotify, Apple, I think Amazon, iHeart, just the different platforms, and see where I can get things going and see how it works from the inside before I can actually start saying, "Hey, I'm going to launch a real full out project," and just going through it cold turkey and not knowing what's going on. But I think one of the things I do need to work on is actual having a social media presence. I am one of the worst. And I guess because I didn't grow up in that type of era, we did everything sort of trunk, site. You kind of rubbed elbows with people. And with the social media, I mean, there's people that I know that have put out full-length projects that were great musical projects, and probably sold 10 copies, compared to if they were actually in the streets and on the road, they probably would sell a couple of hundred at each stop they went to. just because you have 50,000 friends or followers, it does not mean you're going to get those sales. And even as far as, I remember trying to fight to get stuff on the radio, and some of the biggest radio stations, they wouldn't even accept your call. But shout out to WGCI for when I went up there to them, this was way back in the day, they gave me an opportunity, and me and a couple of my DJs at the time, they actually gave us an appointment, and we actually got to talk to them. So shout out to WGCI. Just before I forget, who all was able to watch the versus battle between Jeezy and Gucci Mane? I'll say one thing, very interesting. Wow. Gucci Mane was stepping all on Jeezy's neck, wasn't he? And some people felt like he was being immature and childish. But to be objective and looking at both sides, yes, Jeezy did take the high road, but Jeezy wasn't the one being sought after with killers. If I remember correctly, it was $10,000 placed on Gucci Mane's neck. Gucci Mane had a right to feel a certain way, even though it was years and years later. Gucci Mane was not supposed to be there, because if the plan went along like it was supposed to, he would not be alive. We should actually give Gucci Mane more credit and a biggest shout out for what he did, for actually wanting to be able to be in the same room with someone who truly wanted him removed from the planet we call Earth. But the one who was going to put in that work and to remove Gucci Mane ended up being removed from the planet. But this was all motivated by Jeezy. And a short story with Jeezy, I remember working for a record label, Gangsta Island Records, out of Miami, Florida. They were doing promotional work for CTE. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's that Corporate Thugs Entertainment, Young Jeezy's label at the time. And their whole thing was they were putting out artists, and the artist's name was Blood Raw. And they had a song called 26 Inches by Blood Raw, and Young Buck was a guest on it. And I was helping Gangsta Island Records do promo. And shout out to Lockfather and Romeo. Great guys, taught me a lot as far as how to promote and market at that time. Coming through Alan, before I get that, shout out to Alan Brown for clicking that all up for me out of New York, out of the Rock Wilders camp. They were looking for a Midwest distributor to help them put out Blood Raw's single, 26 Inches. So they sent me a box full of CDs, and they compensated me for it, and they also was going to help me launch any projects that I had and use their distribution system in order to get that done. But long story short, they were Young Jeezy, and they were putting out Blood Raw off of his label, who had a big following down in Florida, and they were just trying to get his following all across the country. So you had different areas of the country, different regions that had affiliated with Gangsta Island Records in order to help them get that buzz going for Blood Raw, which I can tell you now, it seems as though when any artist ran labels, they only can really promote their own selves, but when it comes down to promoting other artists, it's rather difficult. So I suggest anybody who's going up under an artist ran label, unless they really understand how the business works and they're not being used as a hook to be able to get that artist going. Like, you know, somebody may always have to feature on your song in order for you to get a buzz, but you by yourself, it gets no traction. So I usually tell people, don't get on an artist label, because 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work. Very rarely it actually works. So we was able to get the project going, and the song was okay. The track was banging. It was a nice anthem type song, but it never really got the buzz that they wanted it to have. And eventually Blood Raw was sort of dropped from the label, and I guess there was some bad blood between Jeezy and Blood Raw because of that. So let you know that the music industry, a lot of times you may have high hopes because you're looking at them as being who they are, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But Gucci Mane had every right to feel the way that he did. And in most cases, he probably would have never even accepted it. The invitation was actually a platform for them to help push out their music and to get a bigger look. Now, Gucci Mane's body of work may not be as much as far as commercial success, but underground, he's done it. I mean, he's put out a bunch of mixtapes, quite a bit of albums. Compared to Gucci, well, not Gucci, but compared to Jeezy, who's had a lot more commercial success and not as many underground hits as you could say Gucci Mane has. But people have to realize it took Gucci Mane just as much control and restraint than it did Jeezy. When you're being attacked, and in his case being wanted dead, it's not easy to forget it when the person is standing right next to you and right in front of you. I'm not sure if there was ever a formal apology made behind the scenes. But we have to look at how both of them handle it at the end of the day. For all the Jeezy supporters who look down at Gucci Mane as being immature, that wasn't fair. It wasn't being objective. Put yourself in Gucci Mane's shoes. And being in the same room with someone who wanted you dead takes a lot of guts and a lot of maturity. Now, don't get me wrong, for him to have started off that song that he talked about, putting a man's, the killer who was after him, putting him in the ground and digging him up and things like that, that was a little bit disrespectful. But only imagine if that was you. And before you criticize and look down on other people who've been attacked by other people, and you figure, hey, it's been enough time where you should get over it, it doesn't always be that easy. Because one thing that I've noticed in this walk of life, when the person that's doing all the attacking, it doesn't affect them like the one person that's being attacked. Growth and maturity comes from within. But we're still human. Salute to Gucci Mane for his restraint. And salute to Jeezy for actually recognizing that he did something wrong that he shouldn't have done. These guys were all young. The atmosphere and the culture at the time was different. But these two are grown men right now, and they're doing well. So all of us who had something to say and think Gucci Mane was wrong, put yourself in his shoes and see how well would you have done. Because I'm pretty sure that you would want Jeezy removed just like anyone else on the planet. We're all human, but there was a lesson to be learned there. Peace and God bless.
Max Radio.